Welcome. There are 13 top headlines today. Here's the details.
First headline: Extremists kill 162 people in Nigeria village attacks, lawmaker says. Armed extremists killed at least 162 people in coordinated attacks on the villages of Waro and Nuku in Kwara State on Tuesday evening, according to lawmaker Muhammad Omar Bio. The assailants, believed to be members of Lakurawa, an Islamic State-affiliated group, struck in remote communities that are difficult for aid groups to reach, and many victims were found after the violence. The Red Cross reported an initial scores killed and has had trouble accessing the scene. Kwara State's governor condemned the assault as retaliation by terrorists facing military pressure. Nigeria continues to grapple with a broader security crisis involving insurgencies and violent armed groups across multiple regions.
Second headline: U.S. announces military team sent to Nigeria after recent attacks. The United States has sent a small team of military officers to Nigeria to help strengthen cooperation against rising militant attacks, U.S. Africa Command Chief General Dagvin R.M. Anderson said at a press briefing. The deployment follows discussions between U.S. and Nigerian leaders and is meant to augment Nigeria's ongoing counter-terrorism efforts by bringing unique capabilities from the U.S., though officials have not detailed the size or specific mission of the team. This step comes after U.S. airstrikes in Nigeria in late December against Islamic State-affiliated fighters, and amid broader security challenges posed by groups like Boko Haram and ISWAP. The move reflects deepening military collaboration as both countries seek to address persistent insurgent violence.
Third headline: Death of Nigerian singer after snakebite highlights crisis of preventable fatalities. Ifeanyi Nwangene, a 26-year-old Nigerian singer and former The Voice Nigeria contestant, died after being bitten by a venomous snake in her home in Abuja. After the bite, she first sought treatment at a nearby clinic that reportedly lacked antivenom and was later taken to a hospital, but she succumbed to the effects of the bite before life-saving treatment could save her. Her death has ignited widespread concern about gaps in emergency health care, especially access to antivenom and prompt treatment for snakebite victims in Nigeria. The tragedy has sparked calls from lawmakers, pharmacists, and health advocates for improved medical readiness, mandatory antivenom stocks in hospitals, and better emergency response systems to prevent similar loss of life.
Former Benue Governor Suswam dumps PDP, cites internal crisis. Former Benue State Governor and ex-Senator Gabriel Torwa Suswam has resigned his membership of the People's Democratic Party, saying he can no longer remain in a party beset by long-standing internal conflicts. In a letter dated February 4, 2026, and addressed to the PDP chairman in his ward in Logo local government area, Suswam said the decision was not taken lightly and thanked the PDP for giving him the platform to serve at various times as a House of Representatives member, governor, and senator. He said the party that once stood for cohesion, discipline, and constructive opposition has been plagued by persistent unresolved disputes over leadership, structure, discipline, and ideology, with no clear path to resolution, making his continued membership incompatible with his political beliefs and desire to contribute meaningfully to nation building. He described the party's dysfunction as akin to political intensive care and said stepping aside was necessary while wishing the party well if it eventually resolves its issues.
Fifth headline: World Cancer Day 2026, Nigeria unites for early detection, equity, action. Nigeria marked World Cancer Day 2026 on February 4 with health leaders, advocates, and government officials urging stronger action on cancer prevention, early detection, and equitable access to care under the global theme United by Unique. Prof. Abidemi Omonisi of the Nigerian Cancer Society stressed that many Nigerians still present late for treatment due to limited screening, high costs, and stigma, and highlighted that early diagnosis and collective action could save thousands of lives. Across all 36 states and the Federal Capital Territory, activities including free breast, prostate, and cervical cancer screenings, public lectures, cancer walks, and regional rallies are planned through February 28th to boost awareness and encourage timely care. Organizers also announced the rollout of national screening clinics, offering exams from basic checks to mammography, and called on government to increase funding and integrate cancer services into primary health care to improve outcomes.
Sixth headline: World Bank Chief, Nigeria now global reference for steady, credible reform leadership. The World Bank's Managing Director of Operations, Anna Bjerda, said Nigeria is now frequently cited globally as an example of steady and credible reform leadership, praising the government's consistent progress on economic reforms over the past 2 years during a meeting at the State House in Abuja with President Bola Tinubu and Vice President Kashim Shettima. She said this sustained direction and the positive results have boosted confidence among investors, policymakers, and the private sector. Bjerda also highlighted that the forthcoming country partnership framework with the World Bank will align with Nigeria's development vision, including goals of a $1 trillion GDP and about 7% growth, and underscored the need to improve access to finance for businesses and support early childhood development as key to long-term productivity. President Tinubu reaffirmed the government's commitment to maintaining the reform agenda despite its challenges.
Seventh headline: Nigerian Steel Union laments circulation of substandard iron rods amid building collapses. The Iron Rod and Steel Dealers Employers Union of Nigeria, IRDEUN, has warned that the ongoing production and sale of substandard iron rods in the country poses a severe risk to public safety and contributes to repeated building collapses, including a recent 3-story collapse in Rivers State that injured several people. The union's national president, Chief Genga Awoyale, said these failures reflect systemic regulatory breakdowns, weak enforcement by the Standards Organization of Nigeria, and lack of decisive action from lawmakers, despite repeated warnings about unsafe materials. He also alleged that some manufacturers produce standard quality rods for export but supply inferior products within Nigeria, and called for stronger oversight, accountability, and investigations to protect lives and infrastructure.
Eighth headline: DSS arraigns ex-AGF Abubakar Malami, SAN, and son for allegedly financing terrorists. The Department of State Services, DSS, arraigned former Attorney General of the Federation Abubakar Malami, SAN, and his son Abdulaziz Malami before a federal high court in Abuja on a 5-count charge accusing them of abetting terrorism financing and illegal possession of firearms and ammunition. The charge alleges that while serving as AGF, Malami knowingly failed to prosecute suspected terrorism financiers whose files were submitted to his office in violation of the Terrorism Prevention and Prohibition Act 2022. In separate counts, both Malami and his son are accused of possessing a Sturm Magnum firearm and live and expended cartridges without a license, conduct the prosecution says amounts to preparatory acts for terrorism and unlawful weapons possession. The defendants pleaded not guilty, and the court ordered they remain in DSS custody pending a formal bail hearing and trial, which was adjourned to February 20th.
Ninth headline: Court adjourns Ganduje's alleged bribery trial to April 15th. A Kano State High Court, presided over by Justice Amina Adamu Aliyu, has adjourned the ongoing trial of former Governor Dr. Abduli Umar Ganduje, his wife Professor Hafsat Ganduje, his son Abba Ganduje, and several co-defendants until April 15, 2026. The case, brought by the Kano state government, involves an 11-count charge alleging bribery, conspiracy, misappropriation, and diversion of public funds worth billions of naira. At the hearing, both the prosecution and defense noted they were ready to proceed, but several motions and preliminary objections filed by parties, including applications for additional evidence, stays of proceedings, and other pending legal matters, are to be heard on the new date before the trial continues.
10th headline: Tinubu's global engagements yield $50 billion in investment commitments, APC. The All Progressives Congress says President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's sustained diplomatic outreach and foreign trips have yielded over $50 billion in foreign direct investment commitments for Nigeria since he took office in May 2023. APC National Chairman Professor Nentawe Yilwata described these missions as strategic efforts to reposition Nigeria as a prime destination for global capital, not mere ceremonial visits, and said they have strengthened partnerships with leaders and investors across Africa, Europe, the Middle East, Asia, and the Americas. The investments reportedly span key sectors, including energy, manufacturing, logistics, agriculture, technology, and infrastructure, with commitments expected to support capital inflows, job creation, and technology transfer. The APC also highlighted agreements like the Comprehensive Economic Partnership with the United Arab Emirates among the diplomatic outcomes helping to deepen trade and cooperation.
11th headline: NAFDAC survey reveals 25.2% of underage Nigerians drink alcohol daily. A national survey released by the National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, NAFDAC, shows that alcohol use among minors and underage youths in Nigeria is widespread and a growing public health concern. The study, involving respondents from 6 states across all geopolitical zones, found that 54.3% of persons under 18 years of age are able to buy alcohol on their own, mostly in small sachets and PET bottles that are cheap and easy to obtain. While many reported occasional drinking, a significant portion of underage respondents, about 25.2%, said they drink alcohol daily, and 9.3% of younger children, under 13, also reported daily consumption. NAFDAC's Director General, Professor Mojisola Adeyeye, described the findings as alarming and emphasized the need to curb access, especially by tightening regulation of small-pack alcohol products and engaging parents, communities, and retailers to protect children's health and development.
12th headline: Immigration Service and NAFDAC warn Nigerians against fake recruitment portals. The Nigeria Immigration Service, NIS, has alerted the public to fraudulent recruitment websites and adverts falsely claiming to be hiring for the service, clarifying that it is not running any independent recruitment and that the only legitimate ongoing exercise is through the Civil Defense, Correctional, Fire and Immigration Services Board, CDCFIB, accessible only on its official portal. Job seekers are urged to ignore unofficial sites and not share personal data or pay fees to scammers. Meanwhile, the National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, NAFDAC, has disowned a fake recruitment press release circulating on social media, stressing it did not issue any recruitment notice and warning Nigerians to verify information through official agency channels to avoid falling victim to fraudsters seeking to extort money or sensitive details. 13th headline: You are a glorified errand boy, VDM tells Obi Cubana. Social media commentator Martins Vincent Otzi, popularly known as Very Dark Man, slammed Nigerian entrepreneur Obi Cubana after Cubana shared a video showing Seyi Tinubu, son of President Bola Tinubu, presenting him with an appointment letter as Southeast Coordinator of the City Boy movement. In the video, VDM accused Cubana of acting like a glorified errand boy rather than a leader with real influence, saying the socialite stumbled over a supporter's song and lacks grassroots political clout in the Southeast. VDM also criticized Cubana for aligning with political elites and questioned his silence on issues such as the detention of separatist leader Nnamdi Kanu, contrasting that with other regional figures who are free. The remark sparked wider online debate about the role of celebrities in politics and whether Cubana's appointment reflects personal ambition or genuine community leadership.
That wraps up today's news. If you found this update useful, please like the video, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to our channel for accurate and timely news. Don't forget to turn on notifications so you never miss an update.